Scrubby has no motivation. It seems like he just wakes up and his days are spent doing nothing. He gets on social media and wastes his day just scrolling through different shorts and TikToks. He's wasting his time and he's not really being efficient and productive. He lacks motivation because he does not have purpose and he does not have goals. Then there's the G. The G always has motivation. He doesn't lack motivation because he's always going for the next challenge. It seems like he's always achieving and conquering new goals. When I was younger, I liked a lot of motivation. And I think the reason why was because I didn't know exactly what I was working towards. I didn't know there was like a bigger, grander scheme of things that I was a part of that I could actually affect. It wasn't until I got to college, the very first semester where I had to pay full tuition by myself, that I realized that no one was coming to save me. A lot of my decisions and choices up until that point were a lot of times based on my parents. They still fell on the lap of my parents. But when I got to college and I saw that tuition bill, that if I didn't get on my grind and actually find the motivation to finish school, is going to be very difficult for me. There was a semester in college where my dad was very, very sick. That was one of the hardest semesters that I ever had in college. I had the stress of my dad being in the hospital. And then I also had some very difficult classes because I was studying MIS, so I was doing STEM classes. You know, I had coding classes and project management classes. I was just so busy, overwhelmed with my classes. I was working, I think I was working like 40 hours that semester, and then my dad was very sick. It was very difficult to find motivation because of all the circumstances that were going on, and I would find myself getting depressed in those moments. But I realized that I had to just keep grinding. Like, I had to keep moving on. If I stayed stuck there, I knew that it wasn't gonna help anything. What it taught me was how to find motivation in times that are very difficult. My parents were first generation immigrants to the United States. My dad decided to go to the United States to look for a better opportunity for himself and also for his family, for us. And when they came, they didn't have the luxury of being unmotivated because my dad had an entire family that he had to take care of and he had to feed and he had to work for. When I think about that perspective and I think about all the sacrifices that my family has made to get to this point and to work extremely hard, it makes me be more grateful. Things could be a lot worse. Living in the United States, it's a luxury, man. Like, it's not compared to other places where there's kids that are working, there's older people that are still in the streets working, like begging for money and begging for food. We take a lot of those things for granted. One of my favorite movies is Scarface with Tony Montana. And the reason why it's one of my favorite movies is because a lot of the characteristics that Tony Montana has in the movie, his strengths in the movie are something that are admirable. He has a lot of weaknesses as well. A lot of parts of his personality that did not help him at the end caused his demise and his downfall. I'm pretty sure everybody's watched it at this point, but if you haven't watched the movie, this will make a lot more sense to you. But in the movie Scarface, the very first thing that Scarface portrays in the movie is a lot of ambition. And the reason why is because he was very poor when he came from Cuba, when he immigrated to the United States. I think it hits more for immigrants. You have to get it out of the mud and you start from the very bottom. It's very, very, very difficult. You don't take it for granted when you start from the bottom. And in Scarface, like, this guy was from communist Cuba. He was poor as dirt, and he came to a country that had so much opportunity. And that's one thing that we have in the West, is that there's so much opportunity here. A lot of places in the world don't have that. Like, there's some very, 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 very bad places out there that don't have the same opportunities that we have in the West. And that's one thing that Scarface shows. Like, you always have to have that strong ambition to want to keep growing, to never stop. Like, that's the whole point of life, to keep evolving and keep growing. And Scarface shows it. Like, he always wanted to go after a new goal or do something else, or he always wanted to keep leveling up. The next key strength from Scarface is his I don't give up attitude. And the reason why is because he didn't care at the end of the day what other people thought about him. He was always trying to just accomplish his goals and stay on his mission, stay on his purpose. Somebody told him something, he just brushed it off and he didn't really think about it twice. There's a great book that I read by Robert Greene and 50 Cent. It's called The 50th Law of Power. In one of those chapters, Robert Greene states that whenever somebody says something to you or they try to offend you, like, always just brush it off and make it seem like it didn't affect you at all, just so you can put less power on their words. That's something that's been very helpful to always stay motivated. Don't take what people tell you seriously. If somebody offends you or somebody says something to you, just brush it off like it's like nothing, like it came from no one. It didn't affect you at all, and just keep moving forward. The next key strength is that Scarface had a lot of self-reliance. Like, he always believed in himself, and he always trusted himself at the end of the day. You have to be your biggest fan, your biggest supporter, and always believe in yourself. Like, you really do have to believe in yourself. Before anyone else can believe in you, you have to believe in yourself and have that self-reliance that at the end of the day that you're gonna be okay, you're gonna take care of yourself, you're the fucking man, and you're gonna take care of business. And the last key strength is his unwavering determination. Regardless of what happened to him, he always kept his head up high, and he always kept moving forward. Like, he never stopped. He started off in Cuba, on a boat, trying to escape Cuba. He escaped Cuba. He started working as a dishwasher in Miami. He started to do like low-level jobs for the drug organization that he was working with. Then he started like slowly moving up. He had to go through Sosa. Like, he had so many obstacles that he had to get to, but he always had that unwavering determination to always keep striving forward. Again, Scarface had a lot of negative defects. He ended up basically self-destructing. But what I invite you to do is analyze his key strengths. One more thing I want to mention is that you always have to have goals. You have to focus on your body, your muscles, your game, and your frame. And shout out to my mentor, Jonathan MLD. If you start working on that and you start having goals to elevate that, you're gonna have a lot more motivation, because you're getting one small win, then you're getting the next win, then another one, and then they just start accumulating. It's like those small wins every day. If you can win every single day, then it's just gonna accumulate and it's gonna take off. The growth is really exponential. It's not linear. You keep working hard, and suddenly fucking blow up. You could be like, okay, like I'm gonna hit the gym, I'm gonna start lifting, and by the end of this month, I want to hit a PR on all my sets. So you start having those small goals. Just start writing down goals of what you want to accomplish. I want to go do this. I want to go learn how to box. I want to learn how to fight. I want to go travel to these different locations. How can I start formulating the plan? And we start having these goals, and you start actually like looking at things that you want to accomplish, it's going to give you more of that motivation. It's going to force you to think on how you can actually accomplish it. If you lack motivation, these are just a couple of great strategies that you can implement. If you're new to my channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, give us a like. I'll catch you all in the next video. Stay confident, stay relentless, and keep on conquering. You got this. Peace.